Saint Patrick is called the Apostle of Ireland because he was the first to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ in that country. He was a native of France. At the age of 16, Patrick and his sister Lupsita were captured by pirates and sold as slaves in Ireland. His slavery lasted 6 years, and he was employed in guarding cattle. In this occupation, his life was holy and innocent. At the end of this time, an angel delivered him and brought him back to his native land. But he was captured and sold into slavery a second time, and was again liberated. God made known to Patrick, by repeated revelations, that he was chosen to bring about the conversion of the Irish race to the true faith. To fit himself for this, he earnestly applied himself to the study of letters. As soon as he had acquired the requisite knowledge, he was raised to the priesthood. He now sought permission from the sovereign pontiff, Celestine, to preach the gospel to the pagan people of Ireland. The Pope joyfully consented and consecrated him bishop. The saint immediately set out upon his journey, accompanied by some zealous missionaries, and reached Ireland in the year 432. It is impossible to describe the labors and hardships the holy man had to undergo, the vexations and persecutions he suffered in preaching the religion of Christ. God blessed the efforts and sacrifices of Patrick to such a degree that in a short time, whole cities submitted themselves to the yoke of Christ. Other towns and places gradually followed, so that during the 30 years of his apostolic career, he built 300 churches, besides many monasteries. He divided the island into dioceses and consecrated a bishop for each see and assigned priests to every church to continue the work of instructing the Christians and converting the pagans. Such a change of manners was wrought by the zeal of St. Patrick, and the lives of the inhabitants became so pure and edifying that Ireland was called the Isle of Saints. The powers of hell were not idle. They opposed all imaginable obstacles to the propagation of the gospel. But St. Patrick surmounted them all with divine assistance. Leogarius, one of the mightiest kings of the island, and his magicians resisted the saint with all their might. But seeing the numerous miracles with which the holy bishop confirmed the truth of his doctrine, the king granted him full liberty to preach in his domain. The pagan priests, furious at the success of Patrick, set on foot an uprising against the new Christians. They rose in arms to annihilate Christianity at one blow. The idolaters were ready to fall upon the converts when, in the middle of a bright, clear day, a terrific thunderstorm burst forth from the heavens, which dispersed and routed the whole troop of pagans. The magicians, who were very numerous at the court of Leogarius, were put to shame and left the service of the idols to become fervent Christians. The chief sorcerer alone remained obdurate. He, imitating the famous Simon Magus, promised to ascend into heaven. But as the latter had been cast to the earth by the prayers of Peter, so, at the prayers of St. Patrick, the prodigy was repeated, and the magician fell dead to the ground. This miracle was followed by numerous conversions. The converts were most powerfully impelled to become fervent disciples of Jesus by the holy life and the many miracles of St. Patrick. The saint gave his whole time to apostolic labors. He never would hear of repose or relaxation to renew his strength. His zeal for the glory of God and the salvation of souls was insatiable. He was not dismayed by any difficulty or hardship. His ardor was only enkindled the more. He traversed the whole island on foot, representing to the pagans their errors and explaining to them the Christian religion. He instructed the rich and poor, the old and young, not only in the truths of faith, but also in reading and writing, because no others had any knowledge of letters. After having instructed them, he baptized thousands with his own hands. He consoled the sorrowing, assisted the destitute, visited and nursed the sick. In the words of the apostle, he became all things to all men, that he might save all. In these many and varied duties, his soul was most closely united to God by constant ejaculations which he sent to heaven, to show his love for God and to call down the divine help on all his undertakings. His body was always clad in a rough hair shirt, and he made use of an almost perpetual fast. He divided the night into 3 parts. The first he devoted to the recitation of 100 psalms of David. The second he spent in saying the remaining 50 psalms and other pious devotions. The third was allotted to sleep, which he always took on hard stone. The miracles which he wrought are not less numerous nor less remarkable than those of the apostles. He dissipated the most violent storms by the sign of the cross. He restored sight to the blind, speech to the dumb, and hearing to the deaf. Nay, he even recalled the dead back to life. The sick were healed by his simple touch. He also had the gift of looking into the unknown future and of penetrating the secrets of the heart, as we find recorded in his life. In a word, he was a true apostle of Christ, whether we regard the many toils and labors he underwent in the conversion of the heathen, or his many miracles and his holy life. Even unbelievers highly venerated him on account of all these. At last, after many years uninterruptedly spent in apostolic labors, God called his faithful servant to the reward prepared for him. He died at the age of 83, in one of the many monasteries which he had founded for the education of zealous laborers who might prosecute his work of conversion. A choir of heavenly voices was heard singing at his death, and a bright splendor was seen for 12 nights around the monastery, lighting up the whole neighborhood. Pagans and Christians beheld it with joy and astonishment. We may say that the circumstances of the life of St. Patrick most deserving of admiration are, first, that amid the many perils to which he was exposed, he preserved his virginal innocence untarnished during his long years. Second, that one single man should be able to bear so many hardships and accomplish such glorious results for the honor of God and the salvation of souls. But he who chose Patrick also bestowed on him his Holy Spirit and armed him with the invincible strength of the apostles. The remains of the saint repose in the Cathedral of Down, and his tomb is famous for the many miracles wrought at it.